Hey everyone, Scott here to discuss Jason Bourne, starring Matt Damon, Tommy Lee Jones, Alicia Vikander, Vincent Cassell, Julia Stiles, and Riz Ahmed, and directed by Paul Greengrass. Now, before I get into this movie, I have seen it before, but this is something I've never seen since theaters. But I never got around to watching it when it came out on home viewing, so let's see what this is all about as Matt Damon returns as Jason Bourne. Let's get into it. We open with Jason Bourne returned by Matt Damon, thinking about his past while in Greece while preparing for a fight in which he wins with one punch to the opponent, and Nikki Parsons, returned by Julia Stiles, is in Iceland to hack Treadstone's secrets. Meanwhile, in Virginia, Heather Lee, played by Alicia Vikander, finds a security breach as Nikki finds Bourne's father, Richard Webb, and burns the computer as she was working on the CIA and the CIA director, Robert Dewey, played by Tommy Lee Jones, who's Heather's boss, is introduced as she finds out Nikki was a part of Treadstone and is leaked to Jason Bourne, and this movie is all over the place like the last film, as Heather tells Robert she wants in on the Jason Bourne case. Meanwhile, Robert sends the asset, played by Vincent Cassell, to go after Jason Bourne as Bourne looks through his passports and gets in another fight and finds Nikki at the fight as he wins the fight and meets her an hour later. And my problem is, again, this movie is all over the place as I don't like the characters this time around. And Matt Damon has like 45 lines and 288 words spoken in this whole movie. And that's a problem for the movie's star and the movie's main character. Bourne meets Nikki at a riot against the government, which sort of reminds me of today, I guess. And the CIA look for and stay on Bourne, while Nikki gets away and the asset and Bourne knocks down a cop and gets one of the cops' motorcycle and grabs Nikki to get away, and the asset goes after them, which is a problematic chase scene because the CIA tells him where they're going, which feels unrealistic. And Bourne and Nikki almost get away until the asset shoots Nikki dead, and her death scene didn't feel very believable. And this movie is still doing the damn shaky camera, which Greengrass loves to do. I really think he should knock it off with that, especially if he's making the Western with Tom Hanks coming out soon, which looks really good. But I think Greengrass needs to stop doing that shaky cam thing he loves doing so damn much. Honestly, I hate saying this, but Matt Damon did look really bad in this movie, as he has very little to say in this movie. We meet Aaron Kalur, played by Riz Ahmed, whom I reviewed a couple of times in Venom and Rogue One, and I have seen him in Nightcrawler, aka the Jake Gyllenhaal movie, as he creates an app where he can protect his customers from spies like the CIA, and as he meets Robert, which was a painful conversation to watch on screen. Bourne arrives in Berlin, Germany, and takes a taxi cab to find an alleyway where he meets a guy with a hoodie who happens to be Nikki's contact, as the CIA goes after Bourne and alerts the Berlin government as Bourne remembers something about his father's death. As the hoodie man starts fighting Bourne and Bourne beats his ass, meanwhile, Heather deletes the file and calls Bourne and talks with him. And Robert, who tells Bourne to stop what he's doing, and the Berlin government arrives at the place where he finds the files as Bourne escapes in the elevator and knocks one guy out. And the movie doesn't have a plot. It's all about seeing the return of Matt Damon as Jason Bourne and fights with the CIA, which doesn't make a sense as a plot, in my opinion. The asset working with the CIA is working and betrays them and leaves Heather hanging as Robert gives the asset the green light to shoot Bourne down as Bourne pulls a series of fire alarms and grabs a man named Malcolm Smith as it is, to get answers about his father and why he started Treadstone. And he doesn't talk, and Smith tells Bourne he gives a Treadstone because of Bourne himself. And as soon as the asset comes in. Bourne realizes it was the asset who killed his father and gets in Heather's van and learn Robert is going to Las Vegas as Bourne goes after Robert and the asset, and they all arrive in Vegas, not at the same time, but Heather arrives there as well to go to Exocon, where Robert meets with Aaron. And I do like the scenes in Vegas, but it goes on for a little too long. But we need some good scenes here, and the Vegas scenes are succeeding for me kind of well. The asset has a gun pointed at Aaron because Aaron is about to expose him and the CIA, and Bourne is backstage to go after Robert, and Bourne puts the light on the asset and makes him miss. Aaron and Bourne beat up and miss Aaron, and Bourne beats up the security around Robert, and Bourne get to Robert in his suite, and Bourne knows what Robert did to his father, and points a gun to Robert, and the security man shoots Bourne, and Bourne shoots back, and Robert is about to kill Bourne, but Heather kills Robert, and the asset gets away until Bourne chases him down all over Vegas, and end up in an alleyway beating each other up. And Bourne does get his vengeance against the asset for killing his father, which was sort of fun, but it's not saying much. Back in Virginia, Heather is led to believe she can get Bourne in and talk for a couple of minutes until Heather sees in her car a tape recorder that he overhears the conversation between Bourne and some CIA director, and realizes she was unsuccessful to get Bourne as he walks away, and some extreme rays on the rolling credits, and the same exact music from credits as the Bourne Ultimatum music. And the climax in Vegas was fine, but it took too long, but I was satisfied with the movie at this point. Or no, unsatisfied. I'm sorry, I meant unsatisfied. Now it's time for the rating. I'll give this movie a 4.3 out of 10. This movie has no plot except Matt Damon is back as Jason Bourne and winning against Treadstone, Blackbriar, and the CIA, and that doesn't make sense as a plot. The action sequences were enough to see as the camera was shaking around quite a bit. I didn't really care for the characters that much. Even Bourne, which only had 45 lines and 288 words spoken by him this whole movie, which is a problem with this movie and this character. And I hope to never see what I saw here again. So I'd like to thank you guys for joining me, and whenever we get another Bourne film, which I don't know when, the name's Damon. Matt Damon.